Hi, everyone, and welcome to Otakusphere Weekly, episode 32. Yes, I said weekly because we've been pretty weekly lately, so, why not take some credit? I'm Karen, and with me tonight, or today rather, because we're recording this during the day, are Life Song
Hello.
and LB.
Hello.
Yeah, Sal could not be here again because he has a conflict. We swear we're going to work this out one of these days, so it can be all four of us again. But for now, it's us, the Three Musketeers. So we wanted to talk about some chit-chatting stuff some more general stuff before we got to the simulcasts. What I have is actually completely irrelevant, but I wanted to mention it anyway, so I'll go last. So LB, what have you been doing?
Besides the simulcasts, I have been continuing to work through ping pong. I'm down to the last episode. I won't go too in depth on it again, but I will say that apparently I'm weird because I've been watching this show and I could really care less about the leads. I'm much more interested in the side characters that get defeated along the way. I think
Oh,
that
like the Chinese guy whose name is escaping me right now.
yeah, he is a much more interesting character than the leads are.
Yeah, I can see that. My memory of the show was a little bit fuzzy because I think it first aired like 4 or 5 years ago, and I saw it as it was airing then. But I kind of remember having the same thought as it was going along.
So yeah, so definitely that's been an interesting show. I'm looking forward to seeing the last episode. And then also recently my wife and I decided to rewatch Dragon Maid, which it still kills me that this show hasn't gotten a second season announcement yet.
It really seems like that should have been like a foregone conclusion, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe it's because they didn't have enough source material at the time, but now that there are 7 volumes out in Japan, I'm hoping that we'll get one sooner rather than later.
Is it a light novel?
No, it's a manga.
Oh, it's manga. Okay. Well, Kyoto Animation is just too busy with boys shooting arrows, so it's like such a petty and silly thing to do. Anytime Kyoto Animation is not working on the show, you wish they were just be like, "Oh, well, they're just doing this stupid show I don't like," as if they're not entitled to make like a wide variety of shows. But
Yeah,
I still find it funny anyway.
It's just fun to hate on KyoAni when they make something that's not really good. I don't know.
Yeah,
Because
that's
you
not
expect
really.
it to be amazing. Like they made Dragon Maid amazing. Why can't they make Arrows amazing?
Yeah, why can't they make? Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm jumping ahead a little bit. I saw episode 3 of like Arrow Boys Surune earlier this week. I can't remember anything. Okay, now that I'm thinking about it, I am specifically remembering, but I'm not. I could have not watched it. It would have been about the same. Anyway, um, uh, Dragon Maid. Yeah, I really like that show. I could see myself rewatching it in another year or two. Like I need to wait until I've good and forgot, and then I'll laugh at all the jokes again. So.
Yeah, it's become one of those shows that my wife and I can rewatch like over and over and over again. Whenever it's one of those go-to shows that whenever we can't figure out what we want to watch, we'll just throw it on and it's always entertaining.
Yeah. See, now that I hadn't been thinking about it at all, but now that you said that, I kind of want to watch it. Well, we'll see. Because it's not like I need any more anime to watch or anything. Lifesong, have you been busy with your video games?
For the most part, I will say that all of your light novel talk inspired me to go look and see if any of the things that I've really wanted to read, like anime, have inspired me to read,
Hmm.
have come far with their translation. And I was looking, and Outbreak Company has, and so I actually bought several volumes of Outbreak Company. I haven't
Is
really
that
read enough to talk about it yet, but
is that Yen Press?
no,
Or
I
is,
think it's J Novel Club.
oh, really? I didn't think J Novel. See, I'm surprised because
I'm
like
not sure.
I
It's only got a digital release. It might be Yen Press. I could be wrong. I'm actually not sure.
okay, just because I think my husband basically bought out like J Novel Club. Like I think he owns practically everything they've published, and we don't have Outbreak Company, so I kind of figured if that one was out, he would have bought it. But maybe it was just an oversight.
I don't know. Yeah, it
I'll be
is
like,
digital only.
yeah, I'll be like, Wilson. There's a light novel series you forgot to buy. We might have some money left in the bank. How can this be? Yeah.
Yeah, I really loved Outbreak Company back when it aired, and it made me really sad that it wasn't super popular and stuff. So now I can read it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I wasn't thinking about it, but that definitely is one I would be interested in going and reading the source material. So thank you for mentioning it. Speaking of light novels, I started reading the source material for That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. I'm about halfway through the first volume, and it's actually starting to get ahead of the anime in certain things, and not with the main storyline, but like with Shizu's storyline. It's kind of paced differently than it is in the anime, and now I'm starting to get ahead and see stuff we haven't seen on screen yet. So I'm like, okay, I actually don't want to be ahead of the anime for this, but it's interesting that the explanation of Rimur's skills and how they work are even more detailed in the light novel, if you can even imagine that.
I kind of expect that, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it did actually clarify one or two things for me, but the kind of things it clarified are so nitpicky, I'd feel insanely nerdy even like going into it. So
No, mention them. I want to hear it.
okay. You know how he's got the voice that says skill, learn, blah, 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 blah. And
Yeah.
he's also got Great Sage that tells him, that fruit wine is made of 7% alcohol and answers all its questions helpfully. Those are actually two different things. Like, one is like the system world voice, which everybody can hear to some extent. And Great Sage is his specific skill, but Great Sage actually like changed itself to become more like the system voice because it realized that was the easiest way for him to use it. So I kind of wondered, I think on the back of my mind, I was kind of wondering if everybody had some version of Great Sage, because like when they level up, like when the goblins leveled up, did it say like, you have now become Hobgoblin? But actually that's like a separate thing. So yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, and also the this is not completely irrelevant. Wilson has been watching Derrida, one of those that started the season that kind of I think everybody just forgot about, and I haven't been watching it, but I've caught bits and pieces of episodes while he's been watching it, and it's intrigued me enough that I was like, maybe I should watch this like from the beginning, because it seems kind of like it's got like a little bit of a Steins Gate sort of vibe going on from what I've seen. So I don't expect it to hold the place in my heart that Steins Gate does, but I'm kind of curious. So I might actually go back and start that from the beginning. And now the completely irrelevant part. I'm very into Paw Patrol. Are you guys familiar with Paw Patrol?
No, I'm not.
Lysong, you have nieces and nephews. This is possible.
I've heard the name. I don't know what it is, but I've heard them talk about it. That's why I'm laughing.
Okay, so like it's dogs, but they're like rescue people. Like there's the firefighter dog, and there's the police dog, and there's the sky patrol dog, and so on and so forth. And they live in Adventure Bay, and they're like, apparently there are no emergency services in Adventure Bay. Like it's just this team of dogs, but they're very good at what they do. And it used to be that my daughter would watch a cartoon and I'd just be like, ho hum, I guess, whatever. And I wasn't really watching. But now it's like, now the cartoons she's watching are gradually getting more sophisticated. And now with Paw Patrol, I'm like becoming a fan. I'm like, how are they going to save Farmer Yumi? You know? And like, I am totally shipping like the police dog and like the flying girl. Like, I want them to become a couple, and shipping is something I don't even do. Like, normally I just think it's dumb when people are shipping, but I seriously want them to get together and have puppies. And I'm kind of wondering what's going on with me now. Does this make me a furry? Is this what it means to be a furry?
I don't know.
So anyway, guys, if you're getting bored from the wide variety of anime we have this season, you could always watch a show made for 3-year-olds. It comes with my stamp of recommendation, so keep that in mind. It's on Amazon Prime if you get Noggin, which is their like Nickelodeon channel or whatever. So, God, I don't know.
Do you actually pay for Noggin separately, or is that like a?
I think you do, but it's complicated. There might be a season or two of Paw Patrol available just on Amazon Prime in general. Like the whole thing is too complicated for its own good. But we do get Noggin, and now there's actually a lot of shows on there that it's like there's a lot of stuff on there that looks like it might be high quality that I kind of want to have Gwen try out. But on the other hand, I don't want her to be watching TV constantly. So it's probably going to be a while before we get to a lot of those shows. But let's see what other shows I then like more than anime. Watch, before you know it, I'll be doing like a children's cartoon podcast, and you guys won't be able to get a hold of me. I'll be like, guys, I've got my Paw Patrol podcast on Sunday. I can't talk to you right now. All right. Well, enough silliness. We should talk about things that are actually somewhat relevant. Let's start with Sword Art Online Alicization episode 6, which was kind of like the mother lode of exposition. And normally you'd think it would be a bad thing when I'd say that, but I think this episode was pretty impressive, and that it was pretty much all dialogue. Yet because they were talking about was so inherently interesting, you know, you didn't get bored with it being all dialogue. It didn't need action. So I was actually very impressed with where this arc is going thematically after this episode. LB?
Yeah, I wasn't as much of a fan of this episode. I totally understand why we had to have this big info dump now. But yeah, I was just kind of nodding my way through it and just like, okay, I get it.
So you didn't find it intriguing, the fact that they're like basically trying to change the nature of war through AI?
Honestly, that part went over my head. I was sitting there trying to figure out in my head exactly how do you use intelligent AI to take out enemy soldiers. It kind of just went over my head.
Yeah, well, it's not entirely clear how the mechanics of that would work yet. It may never be entirely clear because it's so because we don't want to give the military any ideas.
But yeah, so that was the first part that kind of went over my head, so I wasn't able to grasp everything that they were saying. The other thing that kind of bugged me was the doctor from California. I don't remember her name.
I don't either.
Okay, cool. But yeah, the part where she was talking to Asuna and she said that Akihito Kayaba inserted a false bomb into her chest in order to give her plausible deniability, and no charges would be filed against her. But that was another part that kind of went over my head because I remember the flashback where she went to and she said, "Oh, I meant to go kill him, but I couldn't do it." And then when a few moments later, he puts on the nerve gear and goes back into Aincrad, and it's like, when did he have time to insert that bomb? It seems like he was in Aincrad pretty much right away again.
I mean,
Well,
anytime between then and when it ended, there's like a 2-year period there, you know, that I don't think that really needed to be explained.
Yeah, it wasn't like it. I don't know really how to. But I mean, yeah, presumably the two of them were together in that cabin or whatever for a long time, and once she got there and realized she wasn't going to be able to kill him, there was no danger of her actually like killing him. It just wasn't going to happen. So it's not like he needed to get that bomb in there fast to keep her docile or anything like that, because she just was not capable of killing him. Although I don't even know if she had killed him, would that even have ended Sword Art Online? I don't think it would have.
No, it would have. I mean, it could have made things worse. The question would be, could she have even got into Sword Art Online and fixed it? I mean, honestly, if she couldn't, killing him would have just meant they were all fucked. That's what it would have meant.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so it's really just as well she didn't go through with that. But I found Asuna's response to that conversation very interesting. That it's always seemed a little strange to me that Asuna and Kirito both seem to have this odd kind of fondness for Akihito, even after what he did to them. Like they don't seem to have harsh feelings against him, yet they know what he did was wrong. And I think Asuna finally kind of articulates it in this episode. Like, she knows what he did was wrong. She knows that can't be put aside. But from her perspective personally, that was where she met the love of her life. That was where she fell in love. She's always going to remember that time fondly. And she can't, and that was thanks to Akihito. So she can't. And I just thought it was interesting that it finally came out like that, because it's like, yeah, Kirito and Asuna, they know that what happened in Sword Art Online should not have happened, but there's also the selfish part of them that's like, well, if this whole thing never happened, we never would have met, so how can we hate him? So I just thought that was an interesting conversation, kind of something that's been simmering in the background for a while.
I agree. I mean, one of the big themes in the first season of Sword Art Online is just them really kind of learning to live life inside a video game. And that only happened because of the situation they were forced into.
Yeah, and Asuna is such a different person now than the character we were introduced to. I mean, part of it is just maturity.
Yeah.
I mean, I think she was like 16 when she's introduced, and now she's like, what, 2021, something like that.
Is she that old?
I think so, because they mentioned Sword Art Online they mentioned in this episode that the Nerve Gear and Sword Art Online were introduced 5 years ago. So
Yeah, that does make her, wow. That didn't occur to me.
yeah. It's kind of been hard to keep tabs on how old they are exactly, because they've been set back in high school. So they were in high school later than kids normally would be, and so on and so forth. But
right, the special school and all that. I forgot about that. You're right.
But yeah, so like not only did Asuna, meet the man she loves in Sword Art Online, she's also become a much more capable person as a result of Sword Art Online. And she can't just put that aside. So I mean, I think it's good that the show doesn't just try to gloss over the moral complexity there. That she knows it's morally wrong, but she has a moral reason not to hate the guy, and in a way she almost feels guilty that she can't hate him, and so on and so forth. Like I think that's psychologically very realistic, actually. Lifesong, what do you think of this episode in general?
You've covered most of it. I could say that I agree with everything you've said.
I'm right about everything. Yay!
On the one hand, there's really not that much to say about the episode, because most of it was just confirming things that I already guessed were going to happen or be the case. I like what they're doing with the AI.
Yeah, especially the fact that we thought Yu-Gi-Oh and Co were the souls of copied newborns, but actually they're not. They're like the 6th, 7th generation of children of copied newborns. So
I think they still are, actually. Like, I don't think the AI are capable of really creating children. So what they're doing is they're copying new children and essentially giving them as if they were having children. It's not. I think that's what they're doing.
See, now I want to go back and rewatch that part of the episode, because I thought the AIs were actually reproducing somehow.
Yeah, that was my impression as
well.
well.
No, I think what they're doing is, instead of reproducing, what they're doing is they're being given new, like when they would go to reproduce, they're being given AIs the same way they were created. Essentially, the guys back in the bunker are playing God with the souls. They're not creating them on their own.
Okay, well, I think that's ambiguous at the moment. I hope they come out and clarify that one way or the other, because that's interesting to me.
I think they did. I'll go back through the episode later and check.
Okay, it's possible they did. You're right, and I just missed it. I don't know, because sometimes you pick up on little details like that I miss. What did you think of Kikuoka's statement that, well, I care more about one real soldier than 10,000 AIs, which of course Asuna can't agree with, but I wondered how to feel about that.
I mean, if you were asking me the question about real people and AIs in the real world, I mean, that's a different scenario than what we've got in Sword Art Online, where they are quite literally cloning, humans. They're basically able to think like people. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. I mean, obviously, we know that we've seen Yui, we've seen the AIs can be quite a bit more than just an AI.
Yeah, and to have Asuna be the voice saying, "Wait, what about the rights of the AIs? What about how they feel?" When you think about it, basically she's the mother of an AI. So
yeah, she was also
people.
In Sword Art Online. She was one of the ones that thought it was silly when Kirito, didn't really care for or treated the AIs more like people. I remember that being a thing. So it's interesting to see her taking a different stance now. Obvious change in stance, but
yeah, well, I think the longer, I think it's mainly her interaction with Yui that's the difference. I think she was dismissive of AIs before Yui came into their lives, or maybe that's just me as a mom, like projecting that when the child comes, everything is different. Anyway, so yeah, I'm just really pleasantly surprised they're dealing with such morally resonant and really relevant themes, because I mean, I don't know if we're in a position where we're like, okay, well, maybe we can, in the real world, where we can just invent AIs to fight wars for us. But I mean, the role that AI plays in warfare, especially even with stuff like drones and stuff like that, I mean, obviously that's a very
I thought the
important
warfare
issue at the moment.
was interesting. I didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah. The one thing I didn't like, and this is really a nitpick though, is I didn't like the whole Alice as an acronym for whatever. Like, I just thought that was unnecessary. Like, her name could just be Alice because it's inspired by the Lewis Carroll story. You know, that would have been enough. We didn't need the acronym.
Yeah, the acronym was kind of silly. I was okay with it. I guess it didn't bother me that much. I did think it was a little silly.
Yeah. Oh, and one more thing before we move on to another show. They said something when they were explaining about what Alice had done. They said she was trying to save someone, and then she overwrote the taboo index, and that's what they were trying to get the AIs to do, so they were excited. But now I'm wondering if I remember the first episode correctly, because was she really trying to save someone, or wasn't it just an accident?
She reached out to the guy that was on the ground.
She did. Okay. See, now we're getting to the point in the season where, from watching like 15 anime this season, I'm not remembering stuff as well as I think I otherwise would. But yeah, okay, because I remembered it was almost, I remembered it as just her like tripping and two of her fingers like crossed over the border.
Oh,
but yeah, there was
by that guy that was on the ground because he just lost his dragon fight.
Yeah, so there was intentionality there. It wasn't just an accident. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they're doing something. I wanted to say one more thing. I'm curious what they're doing with the Alice talking to Kirito and whatnot, because according to what they said, the AI is already destroyed.
Well, they said they didn't use the word destroy. They said that she'd been corrected.
Yeah, so I guess that could mean a number of things. You're
right. I think it's natural to assume she was destroyed, because that's what it seemed like. That's what they said was going to happen when the integrity took her.
They did use a different word.
But it could be that they like erased her memories of like the last, couple of weeks or so, or something like that. So she was taken back to before she had broken the taboo index or something like that. I mean, part of that is just basically spoilers from the op, because she looks like a knight in the opening. So it would make sense if she'd been. True. I mean, if we didn't have the op to tell us that, I'm not sure what I would think about the situation, but okay. So yeah, I'm just really, I mean, I knew to kind of expect big themes from the season, and I'm glad it's definitely not disappointing in that regard. Like, that doesn't mean every choice they make narratively is immediately great, but I mean, they're definitely grappling with things that are interesting and worthwhile. I
think it's interesting. I mean, I'm in a point, like when they said they want to use the AI for military, I had a similar thought to what LB did with, well, how are they going to use it? But then I stopped to think about it a little bit. And I'm like, that if we're just talking about ambiguous use and they don't have a clear goal in mind, they just want to use it for something along those lines, then that makes sense to me. So, because AI really, I mean, what can you do with AI? What can you imagine? Just that's the answer.
Yeah, just imagine that. You can imagine a tank where instead of having a person inside it, you just have an AI inside it. So when the tank blows up, no one gets killed. Well, except for the AI.
Yeah, I mean, not even necessarily, because maybe you've got copies of the AI.
That's true. You could have backups of the AI.
Right.
Morally fraught. Okay. let's move on to something a little bit less heavy. Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai, episode 6. And it's like, I feel like I have very little to say about the show other than how well done I always think it is, and I feel like I should have more. I was maybe a tiny bit disappointed that what's her name, Koga, the underclassman girl, that she actually did end up being Laplace's demon. I was kind of hoping there was going to be a twist there, but still, the whole arc was where they started doing Groundhog Day again because she broke up with him, but then she's lying about it because she's lying to herself about how she feels, and it just was a really well done 3-episode arc, I thought. Lifesong?
Yep, no, it hit all the right emotional notes. It was good.
There's one moment where I laughed because I actually misinterpreted what they were saying. Like when they're doing the thing where Mai is tutoring him in her bunny girl costume. And she says something to him like, well, don't look at me, look at the textbook. And he says, what is wrong with you? And I burst out laughing because I thought he meant like, what do you mean look at the textbook and not look at you in a bunny girl outfit? Are you insane? But he actually like moved on and then said, well, you haven't been acting normal lately. And I was like, oh, I thought it was funnier if he just left it at that. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? You expect me not to look at you in that outfit? Anyway.
I like the fact that even after everything reset, she still came up with an excuse to dress up in a bunny girl outfit, which means that ultimately that was something she intended to do all along anyway.
Yeah, Koga was just the excuse.
Yeah.
I think there's something kind of... did you guys play Persona 4, either of you?
No.
Yeah, I played 4. I played 3, 4, and 5.
Oh, you did play 5. I'm jealous. All right, but that's a story for another day. But the Rise story in Persona 4, which kind of deals with her having to deal with feeling like she's on display sexually, and not only sexually, but that's definitely part of it, and kind of coming to terms with that, and then kind of learning to own that as her own choice. I kind of feel like something similar is going on with Mai, where she feels very on display, that she's been in show business from a young age. She was arguably kind of forced into it by her mother. And but I think when she's wearing the bunny girl outfit for Sakura, she's like, yeah, okay, now I'm on display, but this is my choice because this is my boyfriend. This is, this is what I want to do. So I think there's something nice going on there. Reading too much into it, possibly, but that's just kind of the feeling I get from her.
If you're giving me an excuse why she should be wearing the bunny outfit, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, what's not to like? I'm giving you a reason why her wearing the bunny girl outfit is narratively defensible. Okay, one thing, LB, what did you think this episode?
I pretty much agree with what you guys said. I'm still just really enjoying the little bits of deadpan humor that they sprinkle in every so often. I think that's probably one of the best features of the show. It always makes me chuckle. In terms of content, honestly, the thing about this episode that has been stuck in my head for the last few days is actually dealing with a scientist girl. And for some reason, my brain is fixated on why is it a law in anime that every scientist has to use Bunsen burners to make their coffee?
And not only coffee, but like apparently dried squid or something.
Yeah, it's just like, we get it. She's a scientist, but don't scientists use coffee makers?
You know what I would love, and it's not going to happen, but it would make me very happy if just over the course of the season she just makes increasingly elaborate kinds of food using her Bunsen burner setup, and it's never commented on. That would make me really happy. Yeah, and I kind of wonder what Futaba's role is going to end up being in all this, because supposedly she has a crush on Sakura's friend there, but
I really like how they handled that, actually. If you notice a little bit of confirmation that he is completely aware that she likes him and doesn't want her to be aware that he is aware.
I didn't catch that, actually. You mean when they were discussing it on the bus?
Their theoretical discussion? Yeah, that was totally what they were hinting at.
Oh, see, I thought
it was multiple things.
Yeah, I was focusing on the fact that Sakura was talking about his relationship with Koga, but yeah, it works the other way too. They could be talking about Futaba also. So yeah. Damn, this show's good. You gotta pay attention.
I love when a show can do that kind of conversation stuff and establish multiple things at once.
Yeah. One thing I wonder at the end of this episode is, okay, well, like when Mai had her adolescent syndrome of her becoming invisible, when that was over, it appears to be it's over, and now she can't become invisible even if she wants to, or something like that. Whereas with Koga, can she just like reset time whenever she wants now?
I mean, I think in both cases, it's not that either one of them are in control of it. It's just a thing that happens automatically.
Yeah, although it does seem to like open up possibilities for the future. You got like Koga time goddess around. Like if Sakura really messes something up, it can be to Koga. Like, can we go back to that day when Japan won the championship? Because I need to start over from there.
Well, if you listen to what Futaba said about it, that can't happen because they weren't actually traveling through time in the first place.
It was all a simulation or something.
It's all simulation.
Something like that. Okay, and then there's Lysan, did I ask you your general purpose opinion of this episode yet?
Oh yeah, you did. I liked it. I mean, I I thought that it hit all the right emotional notes. I'm trying to remember the specific details of their actual conversation. I remember thinking it was good, but
Oh, maybe now I remember, maybe there's one joke you guys can explain to me. Because the time at the beach where Sakura and Koga both make sandcastles, and it's like whoever's sandcastle gets destroyed has to buy the ices or whatever, and then her sandcastle stands up and he's like, your butt protected you. It's like, I didn't get that. It's just because her sandcastle was round and his was square.
no, it was
comparing it to her
because
butt.
it was because of the way she was sitting around it. When the water came in, it was getting trapped in the spot where she was sitting.
Oh.
That was the joke. Yeah.
Okay, that went over my head. That's kind of the jokes about butts on the show are the ones that go over my head.
I guess that's kind of her thing at this point, since they both kicked each other's butts, and that was the stupid excuse the show gave for
Yeah,
the whole arc happening.
And then at the end, Futaba's like, "Show me your butt. I want to get in on this supernatural action. I must see your butt." It's pretty funny. Let's see. And then at the end, I didn't remember what was going on, but he runs into the girl who was actually the girl that he had seen when his sister was going through the adolescent syndrome thing, who then disappeared.
It looked like her, but he had initially talked about her as if she were an older girl. So I don't know what to think of that. I think we'll have to wait and see.
I didn't even remember who it was when she said, "Oh, hi, I'm Shoko so-and-so." I was like, "Huh, what?" But then I saw people talking about it online. And I was like, "Oh, it was that girl that he mentioned in flashback." So yeah, I'm interested to see what's going on with that. But she better not get in between Sakura and Mai.
Yeah, well, that's her whole purpose, is to make us think how she might. But I'm not too worried about it. I really love the way their relationship is handled in general, just with how mature they are, I guess.
Yeah, and just the way they totally, whether or not they're technically a couple or not, or they're technically dating, the way they talk, they're totally a couple.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. Okay, so that show continuing to be, I want to say, surprise hit of the season. I don't know if it was really a surprise hit to everybody else. It was a surprise hit to me, because I certainly didn't have expectations for it coming in.
I think it was one of the less known things.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking of something that was not a surprise hit, that rather everybody expected to be a hit, and is, that time I got reincarnated as a slime, episode 6. LB, you're off the slime train, right?
Yeah, I'm just going to read your articles and live vicariously through that.
Okay, good. Somebody's reading my articles. That's nice. I really like this episode on several levels. I mean, I like the way they handled the dwarves coming back to the Goblin Village, because they told you stuff that was going on that was important, but they didn't belabor it. They just gave you like, okay, and now these dwarves are working on this, and the goblins are working on this, and that's all very nice, but we didn't have to sit through like 3 episodes of like the dwarves teaching the goblins how to make clothes or something. We didn't need that level of detail. So
no, we can always do that next week.
Or the light. I bet if I catch up on the light novel, there'll be plenty of that.
It probably will. Yeah.
Yeah. And then to get the introduction, the proper introduction, really, of Shizu. Once they showed her in the crystal ball last episode, I thought, oh, they're probably giving a glimpse of her to tide us over, because we're probably not going to see her properly for another couple of episodes or something. But then for this episode to be like all about Shizu was actually a really pleasant surprise to me. So, and of course
that the way she was introduced. That was cool.
I'm sorry?
I like the way she was introduced. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, and it's weird, because when they first introduced her in the crystal ball thing, I was like, okay, well, they're saying she's the person he's destined to be with, but it's probably going to end up being some twists on that, like maybe they're destined to fight each other, or they're destined to be together in some cause, even though they don't like each other, something like that. But no, it actually seems like it's completely straightforward, like what it seemed like it was going to be. But instead of being a disappointment, that was just like really nice and refreshing. So it's nice when that happens.
Yeah, it is.
And of course, the moment where Rimuru says, "Oh well, let me show her what happened to Japan after she was summoned out," and that was just a really
that was cool. That was a really nice little moment. Like, oh well, they're throwing in reasons to make us like these characters working together already. I'm good with this.
Yeah, and it gave you another, in addition to just being like a nice thing for anyone to do for Shizu. The fact that Rimuru thought to do that, like that was one of his first thoughts upon meeting her was to do that, makes you like him more, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Because there's a danger with him that, okay, he's kind of supposed to be overpowered because that's part of the whole premise of the show. It's like the most powerful. Yes, he's a slime. He's the most powerful slime you could possibly imagine. But there's a danger if he's so overpowered, you don't really have a lot of sympathy for him. But the fact that like he was like, oh, I know what I can do for her that'll make her feel a little better, and that was important to him. It makes you think.
I will say that I've had a little bit of a comparison going between him and the protagonist of Overlord. I can say the name properly. And he is like the super nice guy in comparison always. So
yeah,
I appreciate that it's a different angle.
I think I've seen other people making that comparison too. That like the slime is actually the dude from Overlord, but if he like took some nice pills or something.
Yeah. If he were not evil.
Yeah. Let's see. Other than that, it was really good. I mean, I'm wondering what's going on with the Ifrit possession situation. Because,
and the guy that summoned Shizu in the first place. Like, we were told that it takes 30 mages, and here's this one dude doing it all by himself.
Yeah, and like, I mean, I assume she still has to do whatever that guy says, but he doesn't seem to be around at the moment. So what's going on? Is she like fighting to be free of him, or is she actually still working for him, but in kind of like a undercover capacity? I don't know. I'm just really curious what's going on there. And also, why does Ifrit need a host? Couldn't Ifrit just burn people of its own volition?
Yeah, I mean, we don't know. Maybe you need the host to stay around for long periods of time. They haven't explained it.
I bet the light novel will explain it. That'll be my new go-to whenever something happens on the show we're not entirely sure about it. Like, I'll read the light novel, I'll get back to you. I'm sure it'll explain it in excruciating detail. Okay, let's move on to, unless anybody has anything else. Nope. Okay. Let's move on to Uzamaid, episode 6. And this episode kind of took me by surprise. Just to introduce a new, not that they introduce a new character, because that's not unusual, but the fact that the new character is now like after Tsubame, the same way that Tsubame is after, what's her name? Misha?
Yeah.
And the whole flashback to the JSDF and
she's crazier than Tsubame.
Yeah, Tsubame now looks amazingly sane, doesn't she?
Yes, she does. They did a good job. Like, I mean, I realize kind of what they're doing narratively because they've made Tsubame such a ridiculous character. I still didn't expect them to do exactly what they did. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that whole long conversation they had when
Oh, and poor Misha's just standing there with her brain exploding. Like, how does someone like you actually function?
And she just and for some reason it just keeps being funny every time she says, "No, actually, I don't understand. You're talking to a child." No, actually, this doesn't make any sense. But you're going to keep talking anyway, aren't you? You just have to feel for her there. And also, I like the fact that the police are so present in this show, which is weird.
Oh yeah, I thought it was hilarious how they all have those little things that they pull out and summon the police.
They all have like rape whistles.
Yeah, something like that, essentially.
Which, granted the premise of the show, that's wise. I don't blame them. But like, I guess it's nice to know that there's that law enforcement has been appraised of the situation.
Yeah.
I don't know. But now I'm wondering. Well, first of all, I'm forgetting the new girl's name, the new crazy girl. The new maid, let's just call her.
Yeah,
like, if Misha tries to have the new maid replace Tsubame, it's not going to work because she's not going to be able to like cook delicious food and stuff the way Tsubame does.
No,
and
she likes failing on purpose. So good luck with that.
Yeah, so I think I think it would be funny if like Tsubame if actually went along with it and said, well, okay, you can have this new maid, sure. Let's see how long that lasts. And then by like 2 or 3 days, Misha was like, Tsubame, I know you're a lolicon and you're creepy and I hate you, but I miss your pancakes. Please come back. So,
I want to see more about her backstory too. I mean, that seems like the excuse for the new character is to give us more of Tsubame's backstory.
Did you find yourself wondering what happened to her eye during this episode?
I mean, that seems the obvious thing they're building up toward, because like in the scene where she's leaving the defense force, they don't show her eye.
Yeah, that's true. Like when she's training the dogs, she has both
She
eyes.
has it. And you know, obvious conclusion, I think the obvious logical leap is, well, she wanted to be a pilot. She lost her eye. She can't be a pilot. She left the Defense Force.
That's true. Although I kind of wonder if it's gonna. It could just be a troll situation where one day she'll take off the eye patch and her eye is still there, and she just likes eye patches because she likes the aesthetic. Because that's something she would do.
Yeah, maybe. It just seems, I don't know.
We shall see. Um, okay, I don't know. Oh, and this is totally like not important at all. But do you think it's weird that Misha's casual outfit is like wearing those bright yellow leggings? Are they trying to show that she has no fashion sense on her own?
They might be.
Because
Especially after last week bringing attention to the fact that Tsubame is so fashion aware, meaning the show itself is somewhat fashion aware. So yeah, I think that's worth pointing out.
yeah, there's just something funny about that it's like, okay, we realize that she's a lolicon and maybe kind of unsavory and dangerous, but you know, you really should take her advice on how to dress because, honey, you need it.
Y'all.
That's just pretty funny. All right, so we're going to move on to Run with the Wind, where we are now up to episode 6. And Lifesong, you just started catching up on this, right?
Just started, yeah. It's good. I like the first episode a lot. I'm way behind, but
yeah, but with the first episode, like when they did that thing where like we're going to introduce the entire cast in little bits and pieces and show you how quirky they are. Like often when anime does that, I find it annoying because I feel like the characters are not nearly as interesting and quirky as the show is trying to tell me they are. Whereas in this case, I think it actually worked because the characters actually were fun and interesting.
yeah, I don't know how fun and interesting I thought most of them were, but I like what it was doing. At the very least, I really like the last few minutes, like the first few minutes and the last few minutes of the episode, where they kind of give you the premise and they give you this character's his motivations and his what he's trying to do with them and how he's tricked them all into joining his club. I don't know. It was good. It wasn't the typical. None of the typical anime tropes got thrown out, and I liked it. I liked it for that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what you think once you catch up a little more. Now, plug up your ears while we discuss the rest of the latest episodes.
Yeah. Go for it. I'll my own fault for not being caught up.
Okay. Although it'll be, I watched this. This comes out. I think the show comes out on Mondays. I think I watched it right after it came out. So I'm actually struggling to remember a little bit of what happened in this episode. Help me out here. What did happen in this episode?
This episode mostly focused on King still not wanting to join the team and eventually everyone nagging him to death so that he eventually relents. And by the end of the episode, he's wearing the t-shirt that's recruiting fan club members.
Right, okay. Well, okay. Well, the storyline with King, I think it was pretty obvious how that was going to conclude based on the last episode because it wasn't like he was just suddenly going to be like, no, I'm not running, and it was just going to leave the dorm because then the show doesn't work. Like we need everybody to become a runner. So, I mean, I don't have any issues with the way it played out, but it wasn't anything earth shattering.
Mm-hmm.
But what was more interesting to me was the conversation that what's the main character's name? Kakeru? I think it's.
I think so. I don't remember exactly.
I think Kakeru and Haji are the two leads. Anyway, but Kakeru was talking to Haji, and Kakeru was actually saying the stuff I was saying last week, like yeah, okay, not only the chosen should be runners or something, but when we're talking about the competitive level, you know, there's no need for casual runners to, you know, to subject themselves to this. They can just run casually all they want. They don't have to be in a track meet. They don't have to try to do this marathon. And Haji didn't really have a good answer. He was just really like, well, I want to find out what running really is or what running means to me or something like that. And I was like, come on, dude, you got to have a better answer than that. So I hope they give, I'm assuming we're going to eventually get a flashback episode that gives us Haji's whole motivation for why he's working so hard to turn this band of ragtag students into runners. But like, I was glad that they brought up the thing we were talking about last week about how you can run all you want to. You don't have to run at this level to be a runner. But Haji clearly has a reason why he wants them to be at this running the Hakone Ekiden level, but we just don't know what it is yet. So that's what I'm intrigued about. I feel like there were a lot of other like little amusing things in this episode, but because it was a whole week ago and I now have the memory of a goldfish, apparently I just don't remember. So, okay, so I guess we'll move on to what is next on the list. Between Sea and Sky. I'm up to episode 6. Life Song, you're catching up on this, so what are you up to?
I don't remember. I've seen more than I had last time.
Well, thanks. That's helpful. Now, what's the last thing that happened when you watched?
Oh, you know what? I'm on Crunchyroll right now. Okay, episode 3. Oh, I didn't get very far at all.
Oh, you haven't even seen the introduction to the American Girl yet.
Yeah, I have. She showed up at the very end.
Oh, okay. She showed up at the very end, then she doesn't like do anything until the next episode. Okay. Well, I wanted to.
In my defense, it took me an hour and a half to watch that episode.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all. But in the show's defense, I thought episode 5 and 6 were better. Like 5 was okay, and 6 was actually like markedly better, to the point where I actually found like, wait, do I actually care about something that's happening on this show? Because I mean, you don't care if I spoil you a little bit. I
don't care. Go ahead.
The girl who speaks with kind of the hick accent. It turns out the reason why she wants to be a space fisher is she actually doesn't even really want to be a space fisher at all. She's not cut out for it. But her brother was one of the first space fishers the first time they did a space fishing expedition, and he disappeared, and the government has hushed up exactly what happened to him. So she wants to go. Yep. So she wants to become a space fisher because she figures going into space is the only chance she has of even uncovering clues of what happened to her brother. So and it kind of seemed like there were like parallels to the Challenger explosion, almost like the government screwed something up and they rushed the space fishing program into production too soon, and then someone paid the price for it.
I mean, if you ignore the basis of the space fishing program and all of that, yeah, it sounds like it's actually becoming compelling.
Yeah, it's like the whole premise with them summoning the gods through their phone and whatever. Like that's still dumb. There's nothing you can do about the fact that that's dumb. But like I was watching the episode, I figured, wow, I actually sort of care about this character, and if she's going to find out about her brother. So
I will say that even earlier on in the show, she seemed like one of the more likable characters. So.
Yeah, so
I'm not too shocked that she's proving to be the most interesting one.
Yeah, and I'm not saying like, okay, this show is great now, everybody drop what you're doing and catch up, because clearly it's not. And those early episodes are a slog, as Life Song is discovering right now. But I am impressed that it's managing to do something good, go somewhere more interesting with what it has so far, because it's not like there was nowhere to go but up. I mean, conception shows that a bad show can always just get worse and worse. so I mean,
well, not including to Iran and Syria.
Yeah, what is up with that? For those who don't know, Crunchyroll releases information about which shows are the most popular in different states and different countries, and Conception is one of the most popular in like Syria and Iraq or something.
The most popular in Syria and Iraq.
And we don't know what other shows are even licensed there, so it may just be like it's one of the only anime available. Who knows? But it's just like I want to talk to somebody who lives in Iraq who their favorite show is Conception, and I want to know what their life is like. I want to know what's going on there.
To be fair, it being the most popular, it doesn't technically mean anyone likes it.
You mean they could just be hate watching it in Iraq too?
They could be. They could be looking at this awful anime, and they could be doing the same thing we do here sometimes, where people just watch something because it's awful.
Okay, but now somebody needs to learn Arabic to get to the bottom of this. Are they hate watching Conception or not? But also, for the record, if you care about Crunchyroll's info charts, I think Goblin Slayer is the most popular show in every state in the United States right now. So it's kind of impressive.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the map where they've got the whole globe and they've got all the different regions they have licensed anime, it's pretty much number one almost everywhere.
Yeah, I'm surprised Sword Art Online hasn't taken more territory.
On the list. I've seen it on I've seen the compare numbers on a couple things, and it's high on the list, but it's not.
Well, I guess There, you know what? There are probably a lot of newer anime fans who were really young when Sword Art Online first came out.
Probably part of it. I think part of it's also just that Goblin Slayer got so much attention on YouTube from
Yeah.
primarily from people that hate it, but nonetheless, I would think it wouldn't be nearly as big of a hit right now if not for those people that wouldn't stop talking about it when it first started.
Yeah, that's typical. Okay, so between Sea and Sky, yeah, I'm not going to say that people out there should catch up on it, but if you happen to already be up to episode 4 and 5, you may as well continue. It might be worth continuing from here. Okay, Miss Vampire Who Lives in the Neighborhood. I keep watching this and keep just being like, yep, that was a good episode of cute vampire antics and having nothing further to say. LB?
I'm still really enjoying the show. I'm kind of in a similar boat. This show and Miss Beelzebub are my shows that I watch every week. Everyone has their own kind of weird definition of healing anime. These are mine. They don't really have much substance to them, but they make me happy every week.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what even happened in this episode of. Okay, I know they go shopping at one
They go
point.
shopping and they have an interview.
Oh, right, they do the interview with the vampire thing, and Sophie thinks she should actually dress up like a real vampire. Then people shoot down that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, the most interesting thing about the show to me right now is the fact that Sophie and Ellie make absolutely zero attempt to hide the fact that they're vampires. Like, I could sort of understand if they were like, well, it's okay if Akari knows and her one or two friends know, but don't let this get out. But they don't seem to care at all. So it's kind of interesting. Life Song, what did you think of this episode?
I liked it. I think. I mean, every week it's good. I enjoy thinking through the various implications of being a vampire. I saw the PC, the broken laptop, and I was like, "Oh, that made me cringe." Just shows up with her broken laptop, and she's all, "What's wrong with it? I don't know why it stopped working. I just did this chop motion, and now the screen's split in half, and it doesn't work."
You just had like a professional revulsion seeing that.
Yes, a little bit. One question I have now is, Sophie is always, anytime anyone wants to, well, anytime Ellie wants to bite someone, Sophie always makes a big deal out of making sure it doesn't happen. Starting to wonder why.
Well, I'm wondering if Sophie's actually trying to protect her human friends, or maybe she just thinks it may not even be that serious. She might just think like Ellie biting people is just kind of unseemly, and she just thinks it's more dignified if they don't or something.
In this show, I can see it being anything from a much more serious reason to something that's just, she just doesn't want her to do it. Because grow up, we're in the future now. It's modern times. Buy your blood on Amazon.
Yeah, speaking of which, does anyone else wonder where Sophie seems to get her infinite amount of money from?
She's 360 years old. I assume that she's put aside a little something.
I mean, that's a long time. If you've got some money growing in some kind of fund, that's a long time for it to make you like really, really rich.
The thing is, considering this show does kind of tend to deal with the nuts and bolts aspects of being a vampire, I could see them actually covering that at some point.
I want to see that too. That's exactly what makes, like, I was talking to another friend just a day or two ago about what makes the show work, and it's like it's really not that funny. It's not even all that cute most of the time. It's just fun to think about. But they really do need to go there.
Yeah. I hope they, if they wanted to do a whole episode on Sophie Twilight's stock portfolio, I'd be so there.
Yeah, me too.
Be so on it. As Miss Beelzebub likes it, I think we're up to episode 6, but I am actually behind on this. I think I last left at episode 3 or 4. I don't dislike it. I just find it compelling. I just don't find it compelling. I just haven't been in the mood. So I'm not caught up on it. How's it been, LB?
It's been pretty much the same throughout. This isn't a show, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, that has a whole lot of substance to it. So it's pretty much the same. Beelzebub gets infatuated with something fluffy and spends 23 minutes expounding on that, basically. In this latest episode, her and I don't remember her name. It starts with a G, but the one who constantly has to pee.
Oh yeah, I know who you mean.
Yeah, they make brownies for Azazel, and Beelzebub makes some brownies for Mulin, and that's pretty much the gist of the episode.
Okay, it sounds like I'm not. I don't mean sounds like I'm not missing anything in the sense that it's bad. I mean, sounds like I'm not missing anything in the sense that I don't have to be in a huge hurry to catch up.
No,
So,
you really, really don't. There's nothing seriously compelling about this show, but like I said, it's just fun and it makes me happy. So that's
yeah.
all, and that's what I need right now. So
I think my husband is making pizza or something in the oven, and it smells so good. Quick, let's finish the podcast so I can eat. No, we still got a couple of shows here. Oh yeah, before we leave Miss Beelzebub, do you think we're ever going to get a proper flashback to like the war in heaven where Miss Beelzebub supposedly was a great warrior or something? Because it just seems like that would be so out of character for this show that I kind of want to see it.
I don't think we're gonna get that.
Aw, I'm like the only one who wants it, probably. Okay, I'm going to move on to My Sister, My Writer, episode 6, which for some godforsaken reason I'm still keeping up with just to watch. Basically, I'm just watching it for animation blunders at this point. No one else is watching it, right?
No.
Yeah, there's no reason to recommend it. Although, at least for the last 2 episodes, the animation has not been god-awful. It's been reasonably competent, and they actually had a proper ending animation this time because they've just been showing like footage from the episode itself at the end of the episode. But I guess it took them this long for them to actually finish the ending animation.
Oh wow!
So now it has one. It's still just, I guess if you, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you just want to watch it for the fan service, now that the animation isn't horrible, maybe there's some enjoyment to be had there. Because this was a beach episode. They all go to the beach, and the dude has to put sunscreen on all the different girls because they all want to experience it for their writing, so they understand what it's like. You know, because that's such a complex experience that you can't understand without doing it firsthand. So, I mean, I guess if you want to watch it on the horny level, it's fine. It really doesn't have anything else to offer, but it's almost like, well, I've come this far. I may as well keep watching. I don't know. I think I'm just hoping that it's eventually going to have one episode that's like so poorly animated that it's going to be laugh out loud funny. And that's really what I'm hoping for. So we shall see. Next show on my list is Skullface Bookseller Honda episode 5. I am beginning to get concerned with the portrayal of foreigners on this show. Because all the foreigners that Honda has to deal with are crazy people. Where are all of his sane bookstore customers? I don't. To be fair, I mean, his Japanese customers are pretty insane too. So it's not like only the foreigners are insane. But I don't know. I mean, I'm always entertained by the show, but they did one episode where it was like a bunch of goofy foreigners coming in, asking for BL or whatever, and I was like, okay, well, that was one episode. Then they did another episode where it's just like all crazy foreigners bothering them, and I'm like, wait, this is a theme now. LB, are you up to date on Skullface Bookseller?
I am. I'm trying to remember exactly what happened in the most recent episode.
The dude, a foreign dude who's from, I think, what is it, San Francisco or something? He said, no, from Brazil, actually. From Brazil, comes and asks Honda, like, well, why are Japanese comics printed in black and white when Western comics are printed in color? And Honda doesn't know the answer, so he says, okay, let's bullshit English time, and it actually has a graphic that says let's bullshit English time.
Yeah, okay, now I'm remembering that. I actually grabbed a screen cap of that because it made me laugh.
Yeah, I feel like that screen cap should be useful for future things. Let's bullshit English time. Maybe next time I'm trying to explain something I don't really understand on my blog, but I want to make it. But you know, I want to try. That'll just be like my to-go screenshot. Although whenever Honda speaks English, I find it adorable, which is maybe I don't know. Maybe that's like a racist thing to say or something, but just because like he speaks pretty good English and then he actually speaks like complete sentences and stuff, but you could tell he's like nowhere near fluent, so it's really cute. Are you guys silently judging me for being racist now?
No.
Okay, good. Just checking. Okay, moving ahead to Bloom Into You, episode 6. And this episode actually did a lot to kind of reignite my interest in the series because I thought it was just kind of, it seemed like the whole series was just going to kind of be the main character, you, kind of being like going back and forth, like, well, do I care about Nanami romantically? Or am I capable of caring about her that way? Because it's obvious she does care about her as a friend, but like, is she capable of caring about her in another way? So we thought like all the holding back in the relationship was on Yu's end, but it turns out no, it's more complicated than that because Nanami has been trying all these years to replace her sister, and she, in a way, she doesn't want you to fall in love with her completely, because if you was really in love with her, then you would be like, stop trying to recreate your sister and live your own life, and that's not what what's her name? That's not what Nanami wants. So it's kind of weird that she wants to love you, but she likes the fact that you can't love her back, because since you can't love her back, you isn't going to make demands on her to be the best person she can be, or something like that. And that just took things in a really different direction that I wasn't expecting. LB?
I really liked the whole scene by the river. I really liked the visuals of it, where they started on opposite ends of the river. And then as the monologues continued, they grew gradually closer and closer. I really liked the visual of that. The actual text of the monologues was interesting to me. I thought it was because I liked how Koito finally stopped hemming and hawing about it and made it very, very clear that no, it's just never going to happen. Um, so that took me by surprise because I expected them to spend either the entire season or most of the season eventually bringing the characters together into a relationship. I thought that was kind of the point. But now that Koito has said, no, it's just not going to happen, but I'm still going to stay by your side and be your friend, I'm curious where they're going to go next with it.
Yeah, it's like it's an unusual situation where they're, well, okay, and Nanami it does seem to be in love with you. That does seem to there does seem to actually be love there, but
Mm-hmm.
but the fact that she doesn't really want it reciprocated is really really unusual, because I just kind of assumed this whole time that Nami was just, the minute you said, okay, I'm in love with you too, I'm down with this, and Nami would be like, yeah, and then they'd be super boyfriend and girlfriend, you know what I mean? They'd
Yeah.
be super couple. But well, basically we've learned that Nanami is much more psychologically damaged than I had realized, which plays a role there. Oh, and we also got more from the girl who with the Asuna haircut, Saiki Senpai.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's Saiki Senpai. And what do you think? Do you think she's the third peg in the love triangle?
I don't think that she means to be. I think that she suspects that something is going on, but I don't.
She's totally in love with her.
Okay. I was going to say something about Psyche, and it was interesting. Well, the thing is, if Psyche is actually in love with Nanami, then I wonder if she wants Nanami to stop pretending to be her sister and to become her own person. But maybe that's become a sore subject between them, and that's why they've like that, and now they're like drifting apart because of that, or something like that. I don't know. It's just hurting my brain.
Well, the problem we have right now is that we were only really just given some depth into how really damaged Nanami's psyche is, and looking at them now, it's like, oh wow, that just added a whole creepy undertone to the show that I didn't even realize was there before. Maybe it hints at it, but now that we've actually been given it, it's like, okay, well, now I need to stop and think really where they're going with this and what they're doing with it. Uh,
Yeah,
I would assume that the romance is actually going to go somewhere. But I'm curious how they're going to resolve all of this drama they're building up now.
because right now it doesn't even really feel so much like a romance. It feels more like a psychological drama.
Yeah, it does.
Not that that's a bad thing, but that's not what I would have expected at the beginning of the
You
season.
know, it's like, yeah, I think I actually liked Yu's side of it, and I find Yu's side of it more interesting than I do Nanami's. So I hope that they can do more to expand on Nanami's, because right now, I mean, honestly, she's kind of creepy.
Well, yeah, she's been just the fact that she's an upperclassman and she's Yu's direct superior in the club, but she also wants to have a relationship with her and kind of sort of pressures her into doing things. Like it's a little creepy, yeah. I mean, it's not as creepy as it would be if Yu wasn't also somewhat interested, but
Yeah, well, I mean, Nanami's interest at Yu is thinking that Yu doesn't actually have those kind of feelings for her, and it seems like Yu's not entirely well. Yu so far, Yu says she's not interested, and she's only really relates on the "I'm lonely too" aspect, but I don't know. I don't know where they're trying to go with it, I guess.
I think Yu really has no idea what her sexuality is, so she was open to the possibility of kissing Nanami and stuff, not because she's necessarily that into that, but just because she's willing to try anything. She just doesn't know what makes her tick right now. So
Right.
so yeah, this show ended up having a lot more depth than I thought it was going to from the beginning. So I hope it keeps this up. Anything else on Bloom to you?
No, but hold on 1 second. My dog is whining something fierce.
Oh, that's what that was.
Yeah, sorry. Hold on. Okay, okay.
Try not to yawn into the mic. Try not to yawn into the mic. Are you back?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay, I think, unless I'm forgetting something, I think we only have one show to go, which is actually a show I dropped, Release the Spice, but you're keeping up with it, right, LB?
Yeah, I am. It's still a fun spy show. I am enjoying it for the action sequences. I'm enjoying it for the vague levels of intrigue that they're throwing in. I'm still mostly just kind of curious to know who the big traitor is.
Oh, so they still haven't revealed that?
Nope, not yet. I'm guessing that's going to be the end of season reveal, and that's just a carrot that they're using to lead us on.
It'll be the end of season reveal, and then there'll never be a season 2.
Yeah, pretty much.
Let's see. So there isn't anything that makes it so I should drop everything I'm doing and pick up this show again.
No, if you didn't enjoy it by episode 3, nothing that they've done since then is going to change your mind.
Okay. There was actually one more show that I mentioned at the beginning and then forgot about again. Tsurune. You guys seen Tsurune episode 3?
No, I haven't.
I've been kind of reading about it more than actually watching it.
Yeah, okay. I saw episode 3 where at least the dude who didn't want to join the club was like, okay, I do want to join the club. I'm going to join the club now. But then the dude who doesn't like the fact that the main character has that target panic problem is like, well, I won't acknowledge you as my teammate because you suck. And it's all trying to win over the guy who won't acknowledge him. And it's just and then at the very end it appears that the archer dude who main character boy met at the temple, who he thought was a ghost at first, is actually going to be their archery instructor or their coach. Or well, their coach can't actually coach them because he's physically incapable of it, so you bring in an actual coach. So he's going to be interacting with the other characters now. I think I wanted him to be a ghost, and I'm kind of disappointed. I wanted him to just like be a magical ghost who could bring the main character on magical adventures, and they could just gradually forget about the fact it was an archery show. I sometimes I just get ideas for shows that
Well, see, when the show isn't very good, you have to start thinking of ways to make it better, and that's really a sign that it's not very interesting.
I don't even know if saying it's not very very good is even that fair. Like, I think if I hadn't seen a bunch of sports anime before and I was watching this, I would probably find it really interesting. But it's
yeah.
But it's like, I've seen the, no, I don't want to join the club. Oh, I totally want to join the club. I'm obsessed. And then the guy who's like, I won't accept you, but oh, now I realize your struggle. Oh, I guess I will accept you.
The I won't accept you thing. Every time I see that, I mean, I think the very first time I saw that, I was like, what are you, 3? and I haven't gotten over that yet. It's like, why is this even a trope? It's annoying.
Yeah, well, that's partially, I mean, I have to believe a cultural thing, because, like, you know, if someone in the United States anyway, if someone joins your team and you don't think they're very good, they might think like, that guy sucks. I don't think he's going to help us win the championship or something. But you wouldn't be like, I won't accept you. I won't accept your presence on the team. It's just something of a Japanese way of approaching the situation, I guess. Unless I'm totally wrong and they only do that in anime, and
I hope it's an anime only thing personally, but I guess I don't really know.
Yeah, some things as foreigners we have no way of knowing. It's just, I'm so bored with the target panic situation, and, like, I mean, it's not that I think situations like that are boring in real life. Like, when people have problems with their golf swings, with their tennis game, even with not just athletics, but in art and in writing, like, those situations and how people, like, strive to overcome them can be very interesting. But I just feel like they've already,
it's just not.
Yeah, well, A is just not. B, I already feel like they've run this whole target panic idea into the ground, and it's only episode 3. It's like, I am already just so sick of his target panic. Like, I want him to just wake up one morning and be like, oh, I can shoot properly again. That's great. And then have the show move on from it. So, yeah. I'll probably keep watching. I don't know. I'll keep watching. I'm not happy about it, but I'll keep watching.
Yeah, I will say for Sarune, it's like, and I have to admit a little bit, I'm doing the this is KyoAni, it should be better thing, and I try not to do that with anime, not to go in with existing expectations, whatever, but it's really not living up to what I want, and that's not good.
Yeah,
it's hard to accept how far below that baseline it really is.
Yeah, and it doesn't really have the thing that Free has going for it, where even whether or not you really like the storytelling of Free or the characters of Free, it's still like, yay, fan service for girls. It's like one of the best fan service for girls.
I watched it up for Free to be able to say that I didn't think the storytelling was a problem. It wasn't something I wanted to watch, but
no, it's competent. The thing is, even if you're not crazy about Free, it does have the fan service appeal, and this show really doesn't even have that. I mean, unless you really really like seeing boys wearing hakama pants, I guess, then maybe this is your cup of tea. I don't know, but it's just yeah. So Survey, disappointed in it, but I'll keep it up in case, I don't know, they introduce something later that makes it much more interesting. I don't know. We shall see. Okay, so I think we're done with anime for this week.
Yeah,
I have 2 more I can mention real quick.
Sure.
Do you remember? I think you watched Railgun, All Railgun.
Yeah.
Do you remember Mugino and Frenda and their little group?
Wait, which one?
They're like a group of thugs in the second season. Mugino is like the 4th rank, level 5. She has a big fight, a long drawn out fight with I forget it, Misaka.
I have no memory of this. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just explain it anyway then. Explain it from the beginning. There's one of the girls in her little group.
Mm-hmm.
LB may already know what I'm about to tell you, but they hype her up as like this really cute like side character. Like, oh, they never do anything serious or dark or nasty with these characters. She dies.
Oh.
She gets tortured for information, and then Mugino, her ally, catches her, runs her down, and cuts her in half. And you're like, oh, okay, well, they can handle that like that. I was more shaken by that than Goblin Slayer. I don't know. Is anyone else watching this? Or I know you're not, Karen, but
No, I haven't been watching Index.
okay.
Has actual Index the character done anything?
No, of course not.
Because
In
just
the
to hear you
opening,
talk
looks
about
like
it sounds like Railgun. It sounds like Railgun season 3. It doesn't sound like Index season 3.
well, the last 3 episodes have all been Accelerator and his little group of people doing something. So
See, like maybe
they,
it's a little late to talk about this, but I kind of feel like the whole story arc with Index and like the magic, and then the rest of the setting with Academy City and the Espers, I kind of feel like those things don't really go together. Like they should be in 2 different anime.
well, yeah, I mean that's kind of the whole. In Railgun, they definitely split them up that way. In Index, they're starting a war between the two. So I kind of see where they're going to do something with it. But until now, they really haven't. You're mostly right on that.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I might catch up on Index at some point, and now that you've warned me about the shocking moment, at least that won't be too traumatic for me.
It was just traumatic for me because I remembered who she was, and I was like, "Holy shit! They just took the character that they made all those cute memes out of and cut her in half."
Wait. This wasn't the girl with the flowers in her hair, right? Not
No. Uhara is fine. She's actually in one of the episodes, but she's fine.
Okay,
She's perfectly okay.
And not Satan, because
No, she hasn't shown up at all, so you can assume she's good too.
yeah, it's
all
better.
Railgun characters, aside from all of Misaka's friends, none of them have been injured in any. Well, okay, none of them have been killed.
Okay, well, I have a soft spot for Satan, so it's just as well she never shows up because I don't want her to get hurt. So, okay, anything else?
Goblin
yeah, Goblin Slayer.
Goblins.
Still killing those goblins.
I made a joke with a friend after watching the episode of Index that I needed to go watch Goblin Slayer to unwind.
It's funny. So as the main girl in Goblin Slayer, does she have like more impressive skills now, or can she still just do like 2 heal spells a day or something like that?
She's got like a couple of miracles. Mostly what she does is she just casts like shields that protect everyone. But they have a whole party of people that's with them now.
That's cool.
It's turned into a full D&D group. It's so obviously D&D. It actually feels like you're watching someone play D&D. And they've just got this one character that all he wants to do is kill goblins. So they have to come up with excuses for the rest of the party to go along with it.
See, it's like, hearing you talk about it, I almost want to see more, but then I start thinking about the first episode again, and I really don't, and I'm conflicted.
Nothing on the level of the first episode has happened. Like, they'll hint or they'll talk about side characters or something like, bad things have happened. Nothing actually anywhere near that tone.
Yeah.
At least not that happens to the humans in the stories. There's some dark stuff, but it's not that hard to take, I guess.
It's monster on monster darkness.
Or Goblin Slayer killing all the goblins darkness. But yeah,
I'm okay with him doing that.
Yeah, well, if you're okay with that, then yeah, it really hasn't been that bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I feel like, in a weird way, like if I continue watching the show, even though I don't think there's going to be any super dark stuff in it anymore that I can't handle, then it's like I'm like betraying the me who watched the first episode and was disturbed. Like, I don't know. That makes no sense.
I kind of get what you mean to a degree. It was a nasty start, but it hasn't. The world is dark. They want you to know that it's dark. They want you to have a reason to hate the goblins.
Mm-hmm.
But they really haven't done anything else with a narrative like that introduction.
Okay. Maybe I'll think about it. Maybe at some point. All right, so I think we're done with anime for this week. I just wanted to give notice. I'm pretty sure we're not going to be recording next week because next week is Anime NYC, which I am sensibly going to. I'm still totally unprepared for that convention, by the way, so I gotta get moving on the next couple of days, or else there's going to be problems. I should probably figure out what panels I'm going to, that sort of thing. Yep. Let's see. So I guess that's it. So we'll probably talk to you again, dear listeners, in about 2 weeks or so. So everybody have fun, be well, watch your anime, and we'll talk to you later.
Later.
Bye.